Paul, Debbie, Roman and Ali are two couples who didn't know each other before they coincidentally bought the same catamarans in France 3 years ago. The 44-foot Fontaine Pajots are perfect for liveaboard life. The boats were both bought new and they've been set up slightly differently, which the couples discuss in this video. After moving from Australia, life in the Med is proving a joy and a challenge. We caught up with both boats in Croatia.
You've independently decided you're going to change your life, buy a boat, sail or fly halfway around the world, buy it in La Rochelle, and you happen to buy almost identical boats in the same place at the same time. I mean, it was sort of made that you were going to hook up, which is what you've ended up doing. How does that work?
Very well.
Yeah.
I was going to say we can't get rid of you. But
yeah, I was just going to say that. We tried to get, but we're just not fast enough. We're the same speed.
Yeah.
If you meet people with the same way of thinking about where they want to visit, the places they want to see, the places we want to stay away from, it just happens to work out that way.
Yeah. And I think it's also because we've got very similar sort of natures, and that, you know, different people in the group sort of take different roles. You know, like Debbie's our cruise director and does all of the research, and it works out that we just, as Paul said, you know, have the same sort of goals in mind and the same places that we want to visit, and there's a lot of sort of give and take, really, isn't there?
Yes.
And we're in no hurry.
And we're in no hurry, and it doesn't matter if, you know, if one has family and one wants to go off or do something and then come back together, that wouldn't matter at all. You know, like there's no.
Because you did at one point, didn't you?
Yeah,
Slightly
a couple of
different
times.
ways.
Yeah.
Relaxed
Yeah.
about it.
You do have to be relaxed about it, but yeah, I think it's more about meeting people with a similar sort of temperament and similar interests, and then it just works.
And in the very beginning, you know, picking up new boats, not having sailed before, it was very
numbers.
reassuring.
It always good to have another.
reassuring.
So a little bit more about the actual setup of the boats then. Are they exactly the same model of boat?
Yes.
Exactly the same model of boat, but you've set them up slightly differently. I mean, I know one's got a mains water maker, one a DC water maker, those sorts of, you know, slight differences in solar, those sorts of things. What's between you? What's working best? What are the good parts? What are the bad parts about your setup? What would you do differently?
I think Roman would agree on the water maker should have been 12 volt, because I'll be making water all day today and the solar will be powering it, so it doesn't cost you anything to do it. You haven't got to start anything up. Roman's got a much better solar setup than I have. So what's happened is, generally speaking, anything that's good on one boat, the other person's almost copied to try and bring it in line. So I've got solar panels ready to fit in Turkey, which will bring mine up to the same specification. And that's another thing about having the same boat. You can monitor, you can't think to yourself, what would happen if I did this? I can just go to his boat and see it.
Yeah.
And the vice versa.
All in all, we're mostly happy though, aren't we?
Yeah, totally.
The big change for us will be we would like a hardtop on our helm station.
Which Roman has.
But we were always going to get one, but just wait till America, weren't we? But now we may have it made in Turkey.
And we did it slightly differently in terms of the boat pickups, because you did a lot of the work yourself in La Rochelle. It's sort of the after factory fit out.
Almost killed me.
And so 6 weeks of non-stop, you know, working on the boat, in addition to Pierre and his team doing the things that we'd ordered through our dealer. So it was a big call, because you installed the water maker, the solar, and a number of other things, and we're really happy with all of them. But it was a huge effort back in La Rochelle, so that we could get on the water 6 weeks after we picked up the boat.
Yeah.
And I was down the pub.
And generally then, with your boat choice, are you both happy with your boat choice? Given the time again, would you change?
No.
Very happy.
Yeah, and it's funny because we've never been on a Helia. Like we actually hadn't ever stepped on the boat that we'd chosen until we got to La Rochelle, and we went on somebody else's boat. At that point, we were 3 months off picking up our boat, and it was just that we did a lot of online research and sort of narrowed it down to 3 different types of catamaran, and then looking through saying what's going to be the easiest for full-time liveaboards, and what's going to be the most comfortable.
We were YouTube sailors and YouTube buyers as well.
YouTube played a big part, didn't it, on our choice as well.
Yeah.
We get asked lots of questions from people who watch YouTube, and you do get the impression that some people really shouldn't be doing it. What do you think?
It's challenging and it has its moments, both relationship-wise, but also the sailing aspects. Particularly when you're a novice sailor, like we were when we started out.
Yeah.
It's not all bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Like you often see on YouTube,
Yeah.
because people, as I've since learned, don't necessarily rush for a camera when it's all turned into pot. Too busy dealing with the issues.
Yes.
But that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't.
In the 2 years that we've been sailing, there's been 2 incidents, where we've gone, oh wow, what do we do? How do we deal with this in storms? That you're a bit shaky afterwards.
And some people are ready to throw in the towel then, aren't they? And I think,
and they're packing
a
it
few
in,
people who have.
and you can't.
Yeah, we
you
do.
just got to get. It's like a bike. You get back up, you get back on, and the next day you have a beautiful sail, and it's all forgotten.
and you learn from it.
We are, we try and learn from anything, don't we? And we are conservative. We all,
Yeah.
I think there's
the
people
other-
out there that don't look at the weather.
The other thing, though, is that people, lifetime sailors get snooty sometimes about, YouTube sailors that are novices that started. But actually, I think the truth of it is, you guys, after 2 or 3 years of sailing, you've probably got more experience than most weekend sailors that have been sailing all their life. Yeah. If conditions aren't favourable for where they're going, they won't go, or they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
We're out here. Something happens. We're at anchor somewhere. There's nowhere to go.
No.
There might
You
be a
have to
better
be
anchorage
reliant
around
on
the
yourself
corner.
or
but-
the community of sailors around you.
Yes.
But
You-
I think that what I've learned is that anybody with an ounce of common sense, that thinks reasonably logically, that does the planning. It's always about planning and preparation, looking at your weather apps. It's looking at navally and saying, well, where are the best anchorages? Where are we going to be protected? Where's there a marina if something does go? So we've got plan A. That's what we want to do that day. But there's a backup plan just in case. So it really is all about preparation, and
So that's where we've been going wrong. We just say, "Where's the best bar?"
It's quite important.
Ali tends to find out when we get there.
I know. Beach bar.
And in terms of the sites that you see, it's a very slow moving process, isn't it? So that's the other thing that I think some people think you can go there, and then you've had your year off and then you go back to your real life, and it's a bit more of a commitment than that, I think, perhaps, to make it work.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It takes a bit to slow down as well.
Yeah. But you are sailing together, and as all sailors know, if somebody else is sailing in a similar boat in the same direction as you, it's a race.
It's always
Instantly. You're trimming the sails. You're saying, "Oh, what can I do?" So you must be constantly thinking, "Oh, well, okay."
We have got the same boats, but mine seems to be a bit faster. So never a problem.
Now, does one of you take the lead normally? How does that work?
We take it in turns.
We alternate.
Yeah.
And there's nothing fixed about that. Just generally happens that way.
Yeah.
Unless somebody hits wind hold on autopilot and the boat goes off in a different direction, then we
And
tend to overtake them.
There's been funny times when one of us has been at the helm and the guys have been down below, and our foot's accidentally hit the screen and it's changed us, and so all of a sudden we were
Because some
going
people
that
put
direction.
their feet up on the helm.
So on the nav
Chart plotter.
chart plotter, and so all of a sudden you'll see the boat in front do like a sharp left, and you're like, oh, they must know something, so I'm following. And then I go, no, this can't be right. I think when you're traveling together, you've got somebody to share the experience with, and so there's a lot of laughs, and if something goes wrong, we can sort of pat each other on the back, comfort each other, and whether that's with things being going wrong on the boat, or it's things that are happening with family back home because you're obviously not with them. So you share all of that, and it's sort of, you've got a support network that I think if you're on your own, you don't you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly with COVID and these times, we haven't had family visit us, which was the original plan. We thought family would be coming backwards and forwards all the time. Well, that hasn't happened. So I mean, you become family, don't you? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't always see each other every day as well. They could be over there, and we'll have a few days in an anchorage, and we won't see each other every single day. That's also okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how far are you still planning to go? I can't remember when we spoke to you last what your long-term plans were, but they were to go.
And how do they fit in together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't know yet, do we?
I mean, we've said around the world,
Yeah.
so that long-term plan is still the same, that we'll go from here, do a crossing over to the Caribbean, then we'll, go sort of across to the Pacific, maybe back to Australia. For us, we're sort of like interested in Asia, but we're saying maybe 10 years, could be longer.
See, I always wanted to come up the the east coast of the US, and then come back through the Azores back to the Med.
Yeah.
That's always
Doing the Atlantic Circuit.
Yeah.
You want to do Baja, don't you?
On the west coast.
West coast of
California.
America.
Very difficult to get to, but
But we are talking about that, we'll have the next 2 years in sort of Greece and Turkey, and then that we'll do a crossing together. And so what happens when we get over the other side, depending on where we want to go, we might separate then, or who knows. But in the Med, it's just working for us at the moment.
Yeah. And take me through your sort of your winters then, how they've compared to different places, because obviously sailing in the Med is a summer pursuit. Really, people then sort of find somewhere for the winter. So a little comparison. What do you think of where you've chosen? You've been in Cartagena and in Sicily, Licata.
Well, there's two different things, because in Cartagena there was no lockdown to start with, so we actually flew off to Namibia for a month, and people were coming over and visiting, and we thought that's how winters were going to be. And Cartagena was a lovely town, but you're ready to leave. And when we get to Licata, nobody can visit anymore. You can't really travel anymore. We booked quite a few different trips around Italy. They were all cancelled. So it was a totally different thing that year.
Yeah.
But we've chosen our winters to where there is a big liveaboard community. And I think that has been really important. And our next winter is the same, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, there was a good liveaboard community in Cartagena, but then there was also a really nice town, with a great high street and sort of all the shops, restaurants and bars, etc. Licata, great liveaboard community, and in the marina, and the marina itself is very nice, but it's a working Italian town. It's a poor Italian town, so there's very little in town.
Very cheap.
Very cheap.
Very cheap to eat out, and so nice people. Very nice people.
But again, because of lockdown, you couldn't hardly eat out either.
That's it.
But it also depends on your temperament, because it bothers some people that they can't go out to restaurants on a regular basis and leave the boat. Whereas I'm more than happy staying on the boat for long periods of time. I find things to occupy myself. There's always work to be done. So different strokes for different folks, really. I know Al, she has to get off the boat and she wants to go and explore.
I like to
and
go
see.
sightseeing, and
Yes, exactly.
Whereas I'm not particularly fussed with that. I'm happy on the boat.
Sure.
So it's perhaps a good place to be locked down then, because you couldn't go anywhere.
That's right. And there's always so much work to do on the boat over winter.
Yes.
For,
Yeah, actually, you asked a question before about, what's it like living on the boat, and you do spend, a great amount of time, obviously sailing, or motor sailing between destinations, and then you do all your sightseeing and whatnot. But one of the things that I think we've learnt that we weren't expecting was just how much time you spend cleaning your boat. Right? Like maintenance and cleaning and just keeping it up. It's
guys,
never ending.
You've both got new boats.
I know.
Wait for a few years, and it'll be how much time you spend repairing your boats, fixing all the things that break.
There's
We're
been a
not
bit of
immune
that.
from that.
No, I'm
With
sure.
New boats,
I'm
yeah.
sure, yeah.
But having good places to stop where things can be delivered.
That's
I mean,
it.
that's,
Yes.
we've found
a
that's
real
problem.
key, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
didn't realise how big a problem that was
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
try and think ahead.
Yeah.
Then, like we've been even starting collecting for what
Yeah.
we think for
It's
the
so hard
Atlantic
to pick
crossing
up things
now.
in Turkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
The deliveries are non-existent. So all of our stuff that we're fitting in Turkey, we had delivered to Italy this winter, and we're
Right.
just storing it until Turkey.
Yeah.
And then putting it there.
And
Yeah.
we've got an address in the UK through parents that we get sent, stuff to, and then either they bring it out
Yeah.
or I collect it when I go back. And
Yeah.
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 I think Turkey might be tricky for getting things.
Very.
It will
delivered.
be.
Yeah.
So it is difficult. I mean, I actually think, I don't know how I'm going to cope with sailing full time when you're somewhere in the like the Caribbean or somewhere in the tropics where there aren't seasons. Because at the moment, you're sort of thinking, okay, well, I'll save that job for the winter, this one,
Yeah.
and by the time winter comes, you've got a dozen jobs lined up that you
Absolutely.
need to do, and you need to stop to do them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tricky.
It is.
Yeah.
And
you're
you
gonna have to
guys
stop.
do, like, each winter, especially last winter, I mean, you guys were working on the boats, doing
Nearly every
maintenance
day.
and servicing nearly every day.
Yeah.
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 I always try and do at least one job, however big or small, every day,
Yeah.
and surprisingly you find them.
Yeah.
Every single day.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can, obviously, if you've got the money, you can pull into a port and you can organise for somebody to come and
Yeah.
take stock, and then they'll do it all for you over the next few weeks or what have you.
But if you talk to people who do that, there are other problems associated
Absolutely.
with
Yes,
that.
that's
they
right.
don't
You've got
know
to
their
manage that.
boat.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And you need, knowing your boat inside out
Yeah.
is really critical.
And things don't get done right.
They
Well,
don't
Yeah.
get done
Yeah.
right, and you've
Yeah.
paid huge money sometimes
Yeah.
for it. haven't you?
Mm.
Licata, we
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend for having work done.
No.
We've
No.
saved some of the work that we wanted done. We're saving till Turkey because we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
we didn't feel confident.
Mm.
Spending so much money because it was inflated, but also in the work, other people's recommendations weren't that great. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you lifted the boats yet?
No.
No. So
Hence,
is that coming this winter
Turkey.
then? Yeah.
Copper coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coppercoat. You're going Coppercoat.
you?
Both
Yeah.
going Coppercoat?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
Funny enough.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's already on board.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 'cause you can't get it in Turkey.
No.
Yeah. So stocked up on that in
Yes.
Licata.
Yeah.
You can
Um,
get it in Turkey, but it's
and-
more money.
And
wasn't
they're
it?
going to
Yeah.
apply it themselves.
Yeah. Okay. So take me
Yeah.
through that decision then.
Very involved.
You've got ablative on at the moment. haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got ablative. We
It's
were
done
going
really
to
well.
go ablative again.
Mm.
I mentioned to Debbie that I was thinking of Coppercoat, and before we knew it, we were all
You got
No.
basically.
a bulk deal on Coppercoat.
So
did you?
actually,
We've got
we
another
had been
friend.
talking about it for
Yeah.
some time, but the boat next to us in
Yeah.
Licata.
Some other friends who picked up the boat at the same time.
Identical
They were in
boat.
Identical boat.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Had copper coat.
Yeah.
So
from
you're
the factory.
triplets really
Yeah.
then.
And then
Yes.
another couple, Cindy and Ant, on Impavadis, they've had copper coat on their yacht on several yachts over the last 12, 14 years, and had
Yeah.
never had any complaints
And
about
over
it.
winter, obviously, we spoke to them an awful lot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, got to do something with your evenings.
But honestly, for me, in Licata, everyone gets a lot of fouling on the boat. It's
Yeah.
just that kind of marina.
Yeah.
And our friend's boat next to ours, identical to ours, but with Coppercoat, the amount of fouling that they had was 5% of what
Yeah.
I had.
Wow.
And
yeah.
we were basically same position,
Yeah.
identical boats. So
If it lasts the 10 years that they say it does,
Yeah.
it
It's
will
worth
save you money, even though it's an expensive outlay.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not cheap to get hauled out either in certain places.
No.
That's what we've learned.
And
as
sometimes
well.
with a cat you can't get caught pulled.
That's
Yeah.
right.
in certain
Yeah,
places.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
going far and
Yeah,
the
so-
further up we go,
Yeah.
it's going to get harder and harder. So to have Coppercoat would be.
And you're paying for what you get, because friends of ours have gone over to Tunisia to get the cheap haul out, had their boat damaged.
Yeah.
So
With Australian and British passports, leaving the Med is an issue in itself. So I know you've got friends who've gone to Tunisia, as you say. Morocco, that's another
Yep,
option.
we've done
Yeah.
that.
What are
We've
you
done both
thinking?
of those.
they're limited now.
Yeah. We were lucky enough to do them last year, basically, and
We've
It was
done
quite-
Albania now.
and it was quite simple, for us getting in and out. So our friends who went to Tunisia this year to get a cheap haul out are now stuck because Tunisia's gone onto the blacklist. So just as they were about to leave and start their season,
Nobody will take them.
No, now
Right.
they're trying to work out how to get out, where they can go. Yeah.
But I think in the Eastern Med you've got a lot of options,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But when you're in the Western Med, now with Gibraltar being EU,
EU,
you've only got Morocco really to
Yes.
exit.
Yeah.
It makes it
I
very
think
difficult.
Be good
I think
for
we might all
Morocco.
end up there then.
Yeah.
Morocco is lovely as well.
Really
by the way.
nice in Morocco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
There hasn't been anywhere that we've gone to really, other than Bizerte in Tunisia, where we have said, this was a bit of a mistake. Everywhere else, we've enjoyed it. We found something, to like about the place. Bizerte was a convenient port at the top of Tunisia, and we just needed to check in and out to get out of it.
VAT.
VAT. And it's an industrial place, so
Again, lovely marina.
Yeah, lovely marina.
Fantastic service from the people there. The doctor came on board the boat to do the COVID test,
Yeah.
brought the results back to the boat. Really
Yeah.
good.
People are lovely. It's just it's not a
The
tourist
town
town.
Not a
itself
tourist
is-
town.
yeah.
It's really nice to catch up with you all again, and I'm sure we will somewhere in Turkey. We're all heading for the
Absolutely.
same
Yeah.
country, different part.